5:30 on my computer, so I would like to call this regular meeting to order. Please join me in
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item B, recording of the roll.
All present except for Commissioner Sim, who has asked for an excused absence.
Make a motion to excuse Commissioner Sim.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Towers, second by Commissioner Semo to excuse Commissioner Sim from tonight's meeting. Any further discussion or concerns on this item? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Item C, approval of the consent agenda. Any changes we need to be aware of?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Semo, second by Commissioner Towers to approve the consent agenda as presented. Any further discussion or concerns on this item? Roll call.
Care,
Yes.
Semo,
Yes.
Tower,
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes. Item D, receive and place on file 1 statement of revenue and expenditures and 2 monthly cash report.
The finance director is not with us tonight, but he did present to you the information for the meeting tonight. I did review it with him, and basically indicated that everything's in line with where it should be for this time of year.
I'll make a motion to receive the file of monthly revenue expenditures and monthly cash report.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Towers, second by Commissioner Semo to receive and place on file statement of revenue and expenditures and 2 monthly cash report. Any further discussion or concerns on this item? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Item E, approval of the monthly check register report.
Make a motion to approve it.
I'll second.
Motion by Commissioner Towers, second by Commissioner Semo to approve the monthly check register report. Any further discussion or concerns on this item? Roll call.
Semo,
Yes.
Tower,
Yes.
Care,
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes. Item F, approval of the agenda. Are there any changes we need to be aware of?
I'll make a motion we approve the agenda.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Semo, second by Commissioner Tower to approve the agenda as presented. Any further discussion or concerns on this item? All those in favor, aye. Opposed, motion carries. Item G, citizens wishing to address the commission on items that are on the agenda. A 3-minute limit, please. And as a reminder, please be respectful, no personal attacks. This is generally not a question and answer session, and please watch the time frame. So commission, any citizens wishing to address the commission on items on the agenda. You're able to first podium and state your name.
Yes, Alder Bobsich, 1221 East Leonard. The first thing is item J, presentation by Coleman Engineering. It's regarding the Phase 3. Everybody knows it's not done. You can blame the weather, you can blame this, you can blame that. Thing was going right. We were told November 14th at the first meeting that the project had been done. The first coat of asphalt had been done. Then all of a sudden, a few months, things were going by it, and it was November 20th. And it had moving the permission on that. It ordered the permission. Happened on that. The 6 days, the extra 6 days. And another thing is, when the construction company, Wurzel's, was running behind, did Coleman Engineering contact the bonding agency to tell Wurzel's, you have to do something to get this project done? And a few of the problems there is, that's the way it was explained to me about the bonding agency. Coleman was supposed to give them a call. Did they give the bonding agency a call to get this project done? See, these guys are falling behind. And one other thing is, on Leonard Street, 11, 12, and 1300 of East Leonard, 1100 is where it was at. I mean, these 3 blocks were straight as an arrow, 1100 is right where it was at. The 1300 block is about 2 feet north. I mean, you can tell by where, I mean, there's, the natural spot is the tall utility pole, that hasn't moved. But the street is, in the 12 and the 1300 block is 2 feet north. Why did that happen? That street should be straight as an arrow. Who made the mistake on that? And if it's gonna be fixed, who's gonna pay for it? Is the city of Ireland, the taxpayer, gonna be held accountable for that? Because it's not done right. And Celia is not done. Lots of Celia is not done. And Florence Street, you stand on the top of the hill, you can't do it right now because of the snow, but up on the 1000 block, like Telkowski and Bertilli's house, when you look towards Lake, that street is crooked, especially by the theater. I mean, it's like a V. I mean, it's not done right. So is this going to be straightened out, these blocks too? That's some questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to address the commission on items that are on the agenda?
Good evening, I'm Steve Green with Miller Radford and Rissburg, along with Neil Detchell with Case, just here to address any potential questions that might come up on Article M, discussing the board.
Thank you. Any other audience members?
Hello, my name is Tom Olson. I'm with Fabco Equipment, the Caterpillar dealer, and I would just like to reserve time if be possible on the motor discussion.
On which item?
M? Thank you.
Anybody else?
I'd like to know, are the restrooms at the pavilion open this winter? Are the restrooms open at the pavilion?
I believe as the snow season starts, we keep those open during the winter. That hasn't changed, Bob? And I know
We've been having a problem with that one heater, so
okay,
we don't want to take a chance of things freezing and breaking.
right now.
And we're waiting on a contractor to repair that.
So that's why they're not plowed out then, is because they're inoperative, okay? As far as opening up the roads to snowmobiles, once again I ask, what are the plans for enforcement? Do we have the capability to enforce snowmobile ordinances in this community? Everybody's complaining about the snowfall. This isn't really that out of the ordinary. A few decades ago, this was typical November. Yes, in recent years, we haven't had this much snow in November, but this is a typical amount of snow that we get in December, January, and February. And let's be honest, the conditions of the roads the past week would be the same as they are every other year. Our roads are narrow, they're rutted. Most intersections, you have to pull halfway out in order to see if there's oncoming traffic. We do not have bus stops for our children, we have snow banks. How is it safe when we cannot make our roads safe for motor vehicles, cars, and for pedestrians because we don't shovel any sidewalks in this town? How can we even think of allowing low-profile snowmobiles to be whizzing down our roads? And let's be honest, they do not obey any speed limits. I've already seen several of them whizzing down Burma Road, and the season hasn't even started yet. And we lack the ability or the will to enforce anything. And finally, questions concerning the mess behind the Little League field. What was done? Several meetings ago, the City Commission instructed the city manager to stop dumping and to do whatever it takes to remediate the erosion potential on that hill. Another barrier was put at the bottom improperly, just like the first one. There are gaps underneath it, so it will run down. The trees were cut, as they should have been at the beginning of the project if we had any intention of doing it right. After the fact, that's only going to increase any erosion potential. And nothing was done on that thing. Commissioner Sim apologized to the residents of the city for allowing that to happen. He said it was horrible. The commission, 4 people that were present, voted unanimously that that needed to be taken care of. So my question is, why wasn't anything properly done despite you directing the city manager to do so? Thank you.
Anybody else? Takes us to item H. Citizens wishing to address the commission on items that are not on the agenda. 3 minute limit, please, and be advised, be respectful It's not a type of personal tax, and you must pay.
As most of you guys know, my name is John Parker. I'm here tonight representing not only the Chamber of Commerce, but our businesses downtown, our businesses and the businesses that aren't even members. It was brought to my attention a lot the last 2 weeks about the way the streets were left downtown. I know last Wednesday, I think it was, the sidewalks were cleared and snow was hauled away. But I can't tell you how many calls I took from business owners. I had one who was losing $200 a day in revenue. Another one just ended up closing because the conditions were so bad. Tuesday night, the 18th, prior to the banks being pulled away, I had to stop by the food co-op. The snow was out 5 feet into the road on both sides of Suffolk there. I know budgets are tight, and I know it's time consuming, but what can be done moving forward? There's 36 businesses on that stretch from Suffolk to McLeod and then on Air Street. We can't go all winter with that being the norm. I've looked at the budgets for the state, what the state gives. To me, it doesn't seem right that Ironwood gets the same state allowance that, communities downstate are getting, that get a tenth of the snowfall. So what can be done for our businesses? Is there things being done, talking to Lansing, working with Deanda, to get more money up here? What are our options to make sure the downtown businesses are being taken care of better than this? Because if you figure one business is losing $200 a day, 36 businesses, it's over $7 grand of lost revenue that we're seeing on a daily basis when people can't get into their business. Thank you.
Anybody else?
My request is that I have an additional minute or so. Number one, I'm going to thank the city crew for doing what they've done. And I know their ideas are good, but we've got, 13, maybe 14 people working? They can't be plowing and removing snow. Maybe the city has to hire more people. I don't know what the answer is, or better machinery, or whatever. But for the amount of snow we had, the period of time we had it, I think they did a hell of a good job, because I know a lot of them worked many hours. Okay? And I know the majority of people do support. We were able to get out. We may not have been able to go shopping. People may have not been able to stop at my place, because I was buried. That's the name of the game if we're going to live up here. So as far as I'm concerned, they did a damn good job. That's the first thing. We have an issue with removal of snow. A really big issue. All the years that I've lived here, when we've removed snow from downtown Ironwood, all the way down Business 2, which goes to the bridge at my place, our dump site has always been by the Indian, because there's 2 cave areas there. Well, they removed snow for me after an argument with Mr. Erickson on Wednesday. They came down and finally finished me up, because they had originally stopped up on top of the hill and said, the heck with the rest of it down there. Or we don't have time, whatever their explanation was. But they did, they came down and removed it. Well, I sat behind in my car and I watched. I think we had a Whistler truck there. I believe we had a Latino truck there, plus city trucks. They'd come, that machine would roll and they'd fill up and off they'd go. I took out my clock, tried to figure this out. First, shame on me, because I thought, okay, these guys are looking for overtime, because they're taking their sweet time getting back here. So, when the third truck filled, I decided I'm going behind this truck. So, turned around, and I followed them. We're not dumping there. Where we were dumping, or where we are dumping at this point, is on the corner of McLeod and here, as you're getting ready to go to the city garage on the left-hand side. And then we've got a man there, I sat and watched, who at that point has to take this big piece of machinery and push it, the banks up as high as they can go. Where, when we dumped at the Indian, they would dump, this guy would come with his big machine and just push it over the end. Those guys wouldn't have to sit there. Meanwhile, you have to sit and wait until this man keeps banking the snow up, which is almost filled over there, because I was there today to take a look at it. So shame on the city for wasting time, for wasting money, and man hours by driving to Timbuktu to dump snow. Well, I checked a little further because I'm nosy, as everybody knows. I come to find out, and I guess Rick, you want to answer this, I come to find out that allegedly, and I say loosely, I asked a friend who asked another friend who asked somebody that belongs with the Miners Memorial Park, and we never get a straight answer when she asked directly. And they said, Miners Memorial Park people said there'd be no dumping there. I don't know if that's true or not, but if they did, shame on them, because we can cover more area if we go to the pull system. When you're doing downtown Ironwood, you're doing down by me, or a little bit further, or Norrie, your closest dump is there. If you're over on Midland, and I don't know, what's it, Superior Street by the fairgrounds, whatever street's over that way, your closest dump would be over by the fairgrounds. And then I believe we have one which I talked to you about Providence, but you said you weren't sure at that point because it hadn't got, the ground hadn't gotten hard yet or whatever, and they can't put that much snow there. I guess this is what I'm saying. Under no conditions do I believe in the Miners Memorial Park, 100%. Do I think it's good for people to walk the trails? Absolutely. But they cannot dictate, and should not dictate, to the city that we're not allowed to dump it. It's going to help, maybe they got a point. So now I asked a real stupid question. Is this machine that pulls snow, can that cut up a couch, a love seat, a recliner, a refrigerator? And they're laughing at me like I'm an idiot. They go, no, it's not. So
Please, I guess my comment would be, why don't you give us your questions or concerns, and if it's okay with the commission. I know that the manager's report, if it's okay with Mr. Anderson, maybe at the end of the meeting, we have on some of the things that he's going to talk about with the topic of snow removal and the plowing. So if you have the questions,
why are we
don't
not
you
looking at the Indian? I want an answer.
Okay.
Why we're hauling this extra miles and paying extra time and paying extra overtime? The city has that kind of money, hire more men and more equipment.
Thank you. Anybody else?
So I can reply to a few things. First of all, I guess I have a question for contracting out for snow removal now. Why wasn't it bid out? And why wasn't it bid out before winter started? Second, the blueprint, which is now over, but it was a 5-year plan, specifically states the city must be more aggressive in downtown snow removal. And yet, this commission, which all 4 of you were also on the commission for the last term, this commission and the DIDA have never had a serious discussion about downtown snow removal. 5 years of a blueprint that stated you must be more aggressive in removing snow. There's never been an honest, legitimate discussion about how to do that. I want to still know why. And the mayor, and you have been the mayor now for 2 terms, you, by law, are required to serve on the DIDA. As far as snow dumping in other areas goes, the comprehensive plan, which you're getting an update on tonight, and that you approved, speaks about watching out for water pollution and such like that. Dumping dirt and salt-laden snow into a pond would be against the $70,000 comprehensive plan that you have adopted. Most communities have a dump site. It's necessary for some building debris and for snow up in the north. Most communities don't dump everywhere in their community. We have snow dumps everywhere, and all of those snow dumps double in the summer as dump sites for everything else. We empty the street sweeper into a pond up by Hiawatha. Also a violation of your new $70,000 comprehensive plan. Okay? The only reason we talk about how expensive everything is because of this insane way of bookkeeping in this city. It does not cost $15,000 to remove snow from the downtown. Okay? The equipment is paid for. Whether you want to decide that every time a piece of equipment leaves the garage that you throw $1 or $40 an hour into a pot as a savings account, that's your choice. That does not mean it costs you that much to operate that equipment for an hour. I've seen the breakdown of costs on there. You're counting the normal salary, the normal wages for all of those employees. They're paid no matter if they're sitting at the garage doing nothing or they're out working. Are overtime wages a legitimate expense? Yes. Gas and oil and maintenance for that equipment is a legitimate expense. You also count the fringe benefits for those employees as part of the cost of snow removal. That's ridiculous. And you pass that on, it allows the city, specifically your city manager, to make excuses of why things don't occur. Why is there a pile of trees, dead trees at Norrie Park? Because it would cost too much money to actually haul them to the compost site. No, small fee. Why do we not do a proper job of plowing and snow removal? Because of inflated costs. When we pass that on for sidewalk repair to our citizens, blight cleanup, this is a shell game that we're playing, just passing on these expenses, and that needs to stop. The people expect certain things to be done. I'm tired of hearing about excuses, we can't afford anything. If you can't properly remove snow from our roads, then we have no reason to exist as a community anymore. Just shut the doors, let somebody else take us over. We're tired of begging for you to provide us with basic services. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Yeah, me. This is what I'm gonna say, well, there's 4 of you here tonight, if there was 5 of you. If you're so concerned about this damn plan in the future, in plain English, and not concerned about the city of Ironwood and what it's costing us to do things, Mr. Frank seems to think it's high below or that Scott's a numbnuts from somewhere I don't know where. But anyway, if you feel that strong about it, then I suggest you should resign, or else the people should have you recalled and get you off the commission. You're not for the city of Ironwood, that's for damn sure. Get a backbone and stand up to this thing. It's polluting there. It's polluting the Montreal River when you pull snow too. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Oliver Ross, Sherry again. And according to the Ironwood Daily Globe, this is about the Josephsons. They're going to have their auction and so forth and so on. And they got $100,000 in an unsecured loan? That's insane. Where do I sign up? I mean, I want to sign up for my $300,000 too. I mean, who's responsible for that? That's crazy. So this is an EDC loan. Who's going to pay this back? The taxpayer, the city of Ironwood? I mean, why wasn't there? I mean, you sold the equipment from the bakery, not the bakery, but the meat shop, and that from meats and so forth and so on. You sold the equipment. Why can't? Is there anything left in that Josephson's? Why was that loan unsecured? That's crazy. That's just crazy. That was somebody should be held responsible for that. And one other thing is, I asked you to do this one other time. After the last meeting, there was 3 lowlifes. They got caught peddling heroin, and they got caught peddling meth. The court system left them off again. They got a possession charge. We don't want these people in this community. They got off. Plea bargain, plea bargain, plea bargain. They're plea bargaining all these gold cases. We don't need these lowlifes around here that are peddling this gold. Write a letter to the prosecuting attorney. Write a letter to the Daily Globe. Write a letter to the county commission. No more plea bargains on this stuff. It's getting worse and worse and worse. You need to write a letter to say you are disgusted with what's going on. That our police department is doing their job. Are you going to support the police department, or are you just going to let everything go? Let everything go. Write that letter, say you are supporting the police department, and you're disappointed in what the prosecuting attorney is doing. We need to get rid of these lowlifes in this community. And if you come to Big County, you are going to get the 20 years. It's not going to be plea bargain. If something has to be done, we need to clean this community up. Thank you.
Anybody else? Item I, presentation to Fighting Weepers Junior Hockey Team. Anybody here from the Fighting Weepers?
And it's possible that they're back, we'll have a game over the weekend.
Okay. We are just looking to offer them a certificate of thanks with their help with their player, so we'll have to catch them at that. Item J, presentation of Coleman Engineering staff update on Phase 3 water and sewer project.
Well, Mike Foley couldn't make it tonight, so he asked me to step in and give me a brief overview of the project and how it kind of ended this year. I'll just kind of start with when the contract was bid. The bid date for the first layer of pavement was November 15th. During construction, there was a change order that was requested and approved to do the substantial completion date to November 19th. So basically, 4 days were added to the contract. Obviously, everybody knows that November 10th, we got that big snowstorm, and there's just no way that construction could go on any further. So that leaves 9 days left to the amended contract. Right now, what they did is they had to pretty much put a seasonal shutdown and wait till spring comes. When the road restrictions come on next year, construction will start. Bridge will have 9 days to get substantially complete. Otherwise, liquidated damages will kick in. Now, it's my understanding, maybe a couple questions that were asked. Did they fall behind because Richland workers weren't helping? It's my understanding that they truly gave good faith effort, and if that snowfall did not fall, the engineer and Richland truly believe that they would have finished by the contracted date. As far as the roads not being straight, I really can't comment on that. I'm sure that Mike will have to comment on that at a different date, but I haven't been involved in the design or the construction. Is there any questions you had for me?
No, the 9-day period supposedly will start when road limits are off. There's no realistic way they're going to be able to pave those streets at that point because there's too much moisture in the ground still.
And that very well could, and you're right. Let's say that we're having a wet spring, the restrictions come off. I don't think it would be fair to the contractor to say, today is the day you have to go out there and start construction. Because they're going to come back with a request, it'd be my guess they come back for a request for a change order because the roads are not the condition that they were during the bid. Which means that they would have to subside to probably a different type of field. But I'm just speculating. That there may be circumstances where they're not out there at that exact date. And I think between the city and the engineer, they'll have to come up, and the contractor, they'll have to come up with a fair way of getting that construction completed.
I do think that Mr. Glavasich did bring up some interesting points, and certainly now in this weather, we can't go and ascertain the straightness of this street or how that project, we can't go and look at what it is. But certainly, we're going to have to wait until spring and investigate these claims.
On a later date too, we have Mike Foley who's been more involved with the project to come in and possibly give
And
us
possibly the as-bills that were taken prior to the snowfall may be able to show if it is as planned or if it was not as planned. So the as-bills might be able to help during the winter months. Something to ask Mike about.
Commissioner, further questions for Mr. Stenberg?
I think it's best this way for Mike. It's not fair to you to handle you don't want to go already.
Right, and I was really here tonight. I thought you guys were more interested about how the liquidated damages were going to pan out, and that's kind of what I got prepped for.
And I understand how that's going to work out. If we do a change order, it'd be for us to decide in the spring, then, when that comes to us. I understand.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Item K, presentation update on Little League field improvements.
I'll give a brief update on that. I don't think anybody from the Little League is here. They were going to be. Sam? Perfect. Sam Fontecchio, do you want to speak on behalf of Little League, kind of where you're at? I know there's a lot going on, not only the parking lot area, but also the field development with some grant money obtained from Rotary and some different things. Are you able to give a brief update?
I can, I didn't really plan anything, but it's
Okay. By default, yeah, we appreciate that. If you would, yes, thanks.
Well, Sam Fontecchio, I've been involved with Little League since probably 1988, and working with a bunch of other people on the blue field. As far as the parking lot and what was the fill in that, I kind of came in late on that. I know I helped out removing some trees and putting up a new silt fence and watching Ursula level out all the loads of dirt that were back behind there. We're probably going to need more because it's not really level yet to how we want to do the parking lot and that. The snow came. I mean, that probably shut us right down. I know you probably saw in the paper, we worked with the Rotary and they came through with a nice grant for us, and a lot of businesses in the local area have came through. So by hopefully next May, the field will be up, and with more continued donations and volunteer help. I know we're working with the hospital on a scoreboard, and the college, the building trades, people are going to donate time and put up the dugouts for it. But I know we had a bunch of hay bales that we were going to lay out there, but the snow came too quick. I know that didn't get done. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to try and answer them.
Maybe to add, again, there's been a lot of volunteer effort to make that happen. After commission direction, there has been some leveling on top of the hill to kind of level out that parking area. That's all brought in. We met with Ursula and the Little League group to look at the hillside, and that was the coordination that was going on to get hay bales. Ursula has a machine that will blow that hay over the side. We'll also see that bank to stabilize. So again, all those wheels are in motion. It's a project that's under construction, as we speak, ongoing. And next spring they'll move forward to finish it up to have a real nice field there and parking area and area for the kids to play.
That's what I'm hoping for.
So you still need a little bit more up on top there to get that leveled out here.
Towards the west.
Yeah.
Not to the south end. I'm concerned, I was never really concerned with that, but yeah, just to make it so where we can have a decent parking area and be safe back there for everybody involved. But hopefully by May we'll have kids playing on the field. That's my optimistic view. Been a long time coming, but
Well, thanks for everything you guys do.
we're not done yet. I mean, there's still stuff to do. It'll be an ongoing project, probably for years.
A lot of volunteer effort, people rolling up their sleeves to help the city out, in that park development. And that's really how a lot of things get done, with their efforts. And it's phenomenal that we have that kind of volunteer base here.
We have some good folks working with us. We're very appreciative because we can't do it alone. Okay, good?
Commissioner, any other questions for Mr. Fontaine?
With the amount of fill that was dumped in there, there'll be enough room for ample parking. Kind of like the way that concept plan.
I'm not sure yet. I know there was some 40-foot thing back. I'm not sure we're there yet from the guys I talked to, and I haven't really measured anything, but I think we're like 17 to 20 feet from what we were supposed to have, but I'm not concerned. I think we can be okay. I'm not going to know until it all grounds, so we get the fence up in the spring and see, exactly how much room we got back there to have that, a road that goes from Bond Street all the way out to McLeod, so people can head out that way instead of, clogging up the artery there by Pioneer Park. But yeah, there's still some work to do back there. I don't know about, going farther, deeper back, but at least doing some landscaping and, designing how we want the road to go and the parking.
Sounds good. Any questions?
Thank you. If you need to get a hold of me, get a hold of me.
Thank you.
So that's it. This has nothing to do with Sam and the Little League. You instructed your city manager to take care of the erosion on that bank, and the excuse is it snowed in November?
Steve,
No, I'm serious. You voted unanimously, you gave a directive, and you just said, nope, it didn't happen, and you're gonna just move on to the next item?
And how the hell would you expect them to take care of it if it's snowing out there?
We're past the point of public comment. This is a work,
Or commission comment, obviously.
this is a work in progress. They're gonna dump, they had plans to seed and work with Ritzler. It did not happen this year. We heard what's going on and we're gonna move forward.
And what do you think will happen in the spring when it warms up
We
and
are
all the
past-
snow on that day
we are
melts
past
and
the
there's
point
rivulets
of
going down?
public comment. Thank you, Steve. Item L, presentation, Michael J. Brown, Community Development Director, update on
Always
the
a plan for
comprehensive
everybody in
plan.
this town.
Don't come back.
What was that?
Don't come back.
Hold on.
Just,
Now that's acceptable
This-
behavior then.
this is not gonna be a personal argument. Please refrain.
It is personal. It should be personal from everybody in this community. That even when the city, we had 5 people come here and speak.
I'm not gonna listen to your comments
And
anymore.
even when the city commission directs your city manager to do something, he ignores them, and then those city
Steve,
commissioners sit there and do nothing.
You're gonna be out of
That-
order and you're gonna be asked.
And what are you gonna do?
Just ask.
What are you gonna do about it then? What are you gonna do? You're gonna ask what? To convene a
I am
leave?
asking you to.
And he'll escort me out. Big deal.
Thank you.
So the police will strong arm me as usual.
Item L,
What an embarrassment to the community.
item L.
Thank you. All right, thank you. Before we start this, just want to give you a heads up, and I did pass out a letter to the commissioners in the paper. DIDA last week did prepare a thank you letter directly to the Public Works Department for their snow plowing and snow removal efforts in downtown. Show appreciation for what they've done. Moving on to the comprehensive plan update, give you an update of what's happened in the last month. This will be the month of October. Chapter 3 kind of discussed some concepts with the Planning Commission. One of the main components of this first year project is the zoning ordinance update and also update the zoning map. What we discussed was before we can actually do an update to the zoning map, we have to do the ordinance update, zoning ordinance update. So staff has been researching that. We'll be bringing that back to the commission at a later time in a separate workshop to discuss how we move forward with that process. Karen, if you go to the next page of the document. Next item here, chapter 4 is the transportation section. Recent updates within October. Staff has updated the PACER rating map based on the new millage, kind of showing what roads are out there that are in good repair and disrepair. So we've had those discussions, and that will be helpful in moving forward with preparing that maintenance and reconstruction plan moving forward. Also held discussions on trail improvements with Park and Rec, and looked at the main trail components and connectors that they want to make between the main trail running through town and other parks within the community. So they identified a couple different areas to focus on moving forward in the future. Moving on to chapter 5, which is Parks and Rec chapter, held a meeting with the miners group in regards to updating the master plan and really going forward with that. So we started those discussions, and in the near future, you can expect to see more information about that process evolving. Okay, next page. So this is chapter 6, the community development chapter, which includes economic development and housing. As you recall from last month, we brought before you the guidelines for the sign improvement program in downtown, which you budgeted some money for. So you approved those guidelines. We got the application put together. It is on the website. Paper did an article in the paper about it, and we are also sending out notices to businesses in the downtown about the program to encourage them to apply. We've also budgeted money for marketing the community. We've been working on preparing a draft RFP for branding of the community. I'm going out to look for help with branding the community and setting those standards and really.
I'll change my motion then to approve the resolution provided to us, the updated resolution provided by city staff.
I'll second.
Motion by Commissioner Semo, second by Commissioner Tower, to approve the updated resolution 014-052 as presented in item N. Any further discussions or concerns on this item? Roll call.
Care,
Yes.
Seymour,
Yes.
Tower,
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
You don't have to sit there.
Item O, discuss and consider approving resolution 014-053, authorizing the use of snowmobiles on designated city streets and alleyways.
This comes to the city commission every year, based on the ordinance and resolution, with a map that shows the streets that are open for snowmobiling. The map is presented to you. Essentially, the core area downtown is not open for snowmobiling. The rest of the streets, you can go from along the streets to the trail or to a place of business. So again, it's no change from last year, Andrew.
Well, it's same map.
Same map, I think I clarified some language in the legend. Just for clarification, you remember what that was?
The closed roads, we call it closed.
Okay, we just clarified the closed roads, ones that are not open for,
It said restricted before we changed it to closed.
okay, we changed the map from last year.
Excuse me, the individual from the hockey team is here.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
Send them over.
Did you guys get any money for snow enforcement area this year?
Yes, we did. Ours is minimal, we got $2,000.
Are there any major concerns from public safety as far as like the maps or the roads or anything that's?
So it's a collaborative effort between public safety and the snowmobile committee, and we feel this is a good map.
Commissioners, any further questions?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 14-51.
I'll second it.
I'm sorry, 53. I'm sorry.
Motion by Commissioner Tower to approve resolution 053, and second by Commissioner Semo to approve the resolution as presented in item O 014 and 053. Any further discussion or concerns on this item? Can you roll call?
Seymour,
Yes.
Tower,
Yes.
Care,
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes. Item P, discuss and consider approval of resolution 014-051, vacating a public alley roadway adjacent to lots 2541 at Miranda's, additions to the city of Ironwood on Control 64 Broadway Street.
Thank you. If you recall last meeting, we talked about this alley vacation request. You gave me the consensus to move forward with it, so therefore I'm bringing back the resolution to make it official. Upon your approval, we will then have this recorded with the county and recorded against the properties, vacating the alley in question.
It seems like some information I had is in the city's best interest. There was no concerns noted with this.
No, we checked with Public Works and Utilities Department, utilities there. There will be an easement reserved over the alleyway for utility purposes, so whether it's the city or any other utilities out there that do have or will need access to it.
I'll make a motion, we approve the resolution described in item P.
Motion by Commissioner Semo, second by Commissioner Tower to approve resolution 014-051 as described in item P. Any further discussions or concerns on this item? Roll call.
Tower,
Yes.
Care,
Yes.
Seymour,
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes. Item Q, discuss and consider pay package number 4 for the amount of $49,265.75 to Angelo Lupino, construction for the local street paving project.
Again, this is for this year's project. The project essentially has been completed, the streets paved that we identified, signs put in, stop signs, street signs around town. That road work is completed. You'll see this is not a final, we've left a couple $100. Keep the project open. In the spring, we do have a few dollars left in the budget here. I'll go over it with our finance director. We do have a couple of streets, I think it's 2 blocks in our area that we're paving north of US 2 that did not get utilities. And it would be nice to try to pave those so that whole neighborhood would be complete. So we'll be evaluating that and bring back a recommendation to you that we might be able to have to pave those couple of blocks under this project in the spring. But I'd have to review that and bring back a recommendation to you sometime this week or so. See if we can get those 2 blocks paved. This is the normal progress payment essentially wrapping up the work we did for this year.
So after this payment, we will owe the other $500, is that?
Yeah, we just got a couple $100, just to keep the project open. And again, for that reason, so we still have them under contract in the spring, if we do want to have those 2 blocks paved, as they're paving the rest of that neighborhood. It would be the time to do it, and we just have to work out the details and the cost of that. And then I'll review the budget with Paul and see what we have left in our street budget under this project.
The work that they've done already, we're very satisfied with, and
Yes, they did a nice job. I think the work they did was very well done, and we had a lot of good neighborhood improvements done this summer under this project.
I'll make a motion to approve the pay package described in item 2.
Motion by Commissioner Semo, second by Commissioner Tower to approve pay package number 4 as described in item 2. Any further discussions or concerns on this item? Roll call.
Care?
Yes.
Seymour?
Yes.
Tower?
Yes.
Corcoran?
Yes. Okay. It is my understanding, we have a representative from the Fighting Ubers, junior hockey team. We had a presentation for you to offer you a certificate of appreciation for your assistance in the fall cleanup, and that we are very helpful, or very happy that the hockey team is here and part of our community, and we're glad you're part of the positive things that are happening in Ironwood, and we just thank you for your help and hope to work with you again in the future. So we do have a certificate of appreciation that we would like to present to you from all of the commissioners and mayor. So
Late last night? Oh,
I'll stay down to those.
Yeah, you're standing up.
You start telling drink to water.
You're standing up.
Good job, Charles.
thank you.
There's a lot of glare on that picture.
All right. Item R, discuss and consider authorizing advertisement to bid out seized property from the Division Iron Area Narcotics Team.
Hugely giant success with the drug seizure process. They accumulate items. It's kind of how they generate revenue to continue to do business. So they have a large variety of items that over the next few months they will be selling. And this revenue will go back into their fund once they sold the United drug seized property. So they're just looking for your approval to start the process of selling some of this equipment they've acquired.
This is just a pretty normal routine thing.
Yes, it's cars, some technology stuff, some lights, things like that. So
And then we'll put out the public bid, and then bring those bids back to the commission for their approval.
that's a vote through public bid through city website and the newspaper, the typical venues we use. And then we'll bring that back for approval. This could be an ongoing thing because they have quite a few things.
I'll make a motion, we authorize those advertisements to bid described.
Motion by Commissioner Seymour, second by Commissioner Tower, to authorize the advertisement to bid out seized property from the Division Team. Any further discussion or concerns on this item? All those in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Item S, manager's report.
Just a few items to go over. I'll touch base probably on the point of discussion here the past few weeks is winter snow. And again, I want to commend our Public Works Department doing a phenomenal job on snow removal. Again, it's very challenging if you look around the whole western end of the county. We've all been challenged with the snow event that did occur. It was extremely significant. We're kind of looking back at some old records the county keeps from 1959. This is, at least for November, it looks like the second largest snow event in November that they've had in the last 60 years. So it's significant. We have to kind of put it in magnitude of what did occur. And again, we kind of take it for granted. Our guys do a good job on keeping the roads open. Here it took a day or two to get us back to where we normally are. But snow removal went very well. We had our crews out there on, I won't say a daily basis, a nightly basis. A lot of people don't see the crews. They're out there at night when we're all sleeping, and they're out working, through the night, putting overtime in to get the roads open. We come out and we see a windrow of snow in front of the house. But there's been a lot of work that they put in to get it to that point. So we want to recognize their efforts in the plowing and also snow removal. That's kind of what comes after the snow stops. Now in this case, the snow never stopped. Kept on coming, so you keep on plowing. And then they fall back and do snow removal. So it did get quite difficult downtown. I'm sure the business owners were challenged down there to get their doors open and keep walking traffic into their businesses. And we do appreciate their patience. I mean, it is a challenge for them as it is the whole city that is involved with this type of event. So with that, hopefully we're somewhat back to normal as it gets. And a few of the things that they did that was I think really needs to be recognized to get us through this event. Now keep on saying this is not just an average event that occurs every couple of years. This is a pretty significant snow event that was very well dealt with. A couple of things that they did. We staff our crews and equipment for the averages. You can't staff yourself for those disasters that occur. Nobody can do that. Nobody can afford to do that. So we staff for the averages. And then we find supplemental help where we need it, whether it be a flood, whether it be a big freeze, or whether it be, in this case, a large snow event. And they did reach out to some of our contracting community to get some help there, just to basically shave off that peak, get us back to where we can manage it on a normal basis. They did that. They reached out. They got some help from the community, from our contractors, to help with some snow removal, and just help speed up that response process.
It's not necessary to go out on bids,
It is not, no. Those are the kind of things we can contract for directly with them.
It would be remotely practical to do that.
No, it would not be, and it's not required. It's got the ability to contract.
Scott, everybody came in exactly at the same rate for rental.
And they were all reasonable rates, and we, our hats off to, Public Works thinking that type of thing, and our contracting community working with us. They kept their rates very reasonable, very affordable, and it was a way for us to catch up quicker. Provide their service to the community and get people back into their stores and with residents back, driving on the streets. So that was an excellent move on their part. They also gave up their vacations, and as you know, hunting season is sacred up here, and they basically gave up their hunting vacation. They all came in, nobody went on vacation, they had scheduled vacations, and they got the work done, and they spent a lot of time overtime doing that. So again, going the extra mile to get us back, get the community back where we needed to be able to maintain it on a normal basis again. Did a great job. I can't say enough about it. Bob, you want to add any more to that? I know you were working with the guys directly.
I'd like to thank those that did send letters and cards to our working crews that said they appreciate it and they did do a good job. And it's well appreciated by them and myself.
To touch on the downtown area, John Parker was here on behalf of the chamber. Again, I think, downtown businesses were challenged, there's no doubt about it, as everybody was. I think the response was very, it's never quick enough, but it was, the situation we had, very reasonable response. They had extra resources that were brought in to help with that, overtime that was approved. So the response with the level of the event, I think, was very...
Make double cuts, so maybe we did impede some of the people getting to certain stores, but we apologize for that, but we did it most efficiently as we could.
And then two, I don't know if just to make a comment that as far as I'm aware of, we are getting 2 new vehicles, which will go down to a single person operation, which will possibly free up some individuals and maybe increase our efficiency as well.
Absolutely, we're all looking forward to getting those 2 new loaders.
And then I know like another question that was brought up was a matter of the snow dumps. It's my understanding that we have the one that I often in there that we're just kind of waiting for it to freeze. It's still a little soft. So they are downtown that they can work off of the one I buffer right there, just waiting for that to freeze. There was a question too about the one that's up by the Indian as well. We do have that reserved as a possibility of using for a snow dump if we need it, if we can't get to our other snow dump. So it's not off the table.
No, that's correct.
Okay.
We do have 5 snow dumps up by Hiawatha. That is one of the 5. And again, that's one of the active snow disposal areas that we do utilize. We've tried, in recognition of the efforts that the miners group has done in that area. We've done a lot to clean up that type of thing. We try to use that as a reserve, if you will. So again, we're probably going to fill up all our dumps, and very well we'll be up there dumping snow, and may even be dumping snow sooner than later.
In fact, what Scott said is absolutely true. What Mary also said, we're going to possibly use it today because of the warm weather and the little rain that we received. It would have shut us down on all the other dumps because there would have been too much damage done to the soils. And we were going to pull snow today, but obviously Lake Superior changed their mind.
We try to keep that in reserve just for recognition of the efforts they get up there, but it's still an active snow disposal area if we need it. And with this situation, that they need it, they use it. They try to not use it as their first priority unless they have to. Any more on snow removal? There's a good point on the voters. That was a strategic decision that was made going through our planning process, the budget process, going from 2-person snowfall operations to 1, so that we can free up 2 more people to basically help all with whatever needs to be done in the state. There's plenty of things that need to be attended to and should improve our customer service, our ability to respond to things as they come up. So I think that would be a very good addition.
And I did, in conversation with you today, ask you when we would get this equipment. And you
Right.
said,
I thought it was as quickly as 3 weeks out, 3 or 4 weeks out. Am I correct on that? Or,
I'm not going to get on that one.
Okay.
You can't predict what things might happen. 3 weeks would be very, very nice. Because of the couple-week delay on the 721F, that could delay it a little bit, but I know they're working diligently to get them up here because we weren't going to let them out of town tonight unless they said they'd get to us as quick as they could. So I'm hoping 3 weeks for the big one. I'm not positive about the second one because, like I said, we just gave them the go-ahead today. Our sand salt truck, that's going to take longer because there's more design on that.
Another Bradford is providing both of them.
You are correct.
any questions on the snow response?
Scott, how much quicker did they use by jobbing and getting these other extra dump trucks in? Did you save a day by cleaning the downtown by doing this?
Well, to be very honest, I'll answer that. To be very honest, Quad can probably haul 30 more miles. So if you take it in amount of loads, I would say we probably picked up a half to a whole day.
So in other words, the amount of money that you saved in labor and you saved in fuel and wear and tear,
It's a write-off.
it probably,
It's a write-off.
it probably just,
It'd be easy.
yeah.
And plus the efficiency picked up. So
Yeah.
yes, it was necessary, especially for the most snow we had.
Okay.
All right, just a few more items to update the commission on. We did receive notice and do a final approved grant application for the urgent need, the Big Freeze grant fund that we applied for. That was over $532,000. Part of that is to offset our expenses from last year, and part is to do 2 projects next year to replace the water main where we had some water main problems. So again, that grant has been approved, and we will be working on those projects for next summer's construction. We've also submitted the grant information, it's called Section 19. It's through the State Treasury Office. It's state grant funding for these type of situations. It's up to $100,000. We did submit to the max. And again, hopefully within a few weeks we'll hear on that. We're hopeful that we'll be eligible for the maximum amount of reimbursement on that one. And that will again go back into the water fund and allow us to replace a couple sections of water main that we had trouble with last year. We've had Jason Allen and Michael Brown and Dennis Hewitt working on this grant. It's a grant for demolition of properties through the state. I think we had touched on that a little bit a few weeks ago. We were invited to apply for this from the state, and that application has been submitted. We have applied for up to $700,000 roughly worth of demolition projects. Again, there's a lot work if we do get the grant behind us, and we don't know yet, it is a competitive grant round. But we'll hopefully know in early 2015 if we're eligible for that and how much funding we would get, and then based on that, we'll start working with property owners on which houses would be taken down under that grant. So again, it's nice to have been invited to that particular party and being able to apply to that grant funding source. But over on the right side, we have some fun activities coming up. The Jack Frost Parade, it's actually the 20th annual. I was surprised when I saw the 20th annual Jack Frost Parade. It's going to be Friday, December 5th at 6 o'clock here in downtown Ironwood. So again, I don't think we'll be lacking snow for the Jack Frost Parade this year. Sometimes I know we were in the parade and there's no snow on the ground, and this year will be probably the extreme opposite. So I'm trying to invite everybody to come down or participate in it. And we are working with the auditors. They are in-house working every day here with Paul and all the department heads going through the city audit, and should have that done over the next few weeks. And that's the end of the report.
Thank you. Item T, other matters. Minute limit. I guess just kind of piggyback on what Scott had said and what other people said. I just really would like to thank all of our staff, public safety, and the DPW, and everybody involved during this snowfall. The work that they've done, I know they did put a lot of shifts, and they're doing what they can to make our roads better. And I do appreciate the patience of our citizens and their cooperation as we address kind of these non-typical situations with our snow conditions. And I just want to thank everybody out there for taking care of that. That's all I have.
At the risk of piling on, I'd like to echo the mayor's comments on the city's performance. To thank you guys. I think the performance was outstanding. And the downtown was cleared in as timely a fashion as was humanly possible. We're often compared to Hurley. We were ahead of Hurley in that respect. Silver Street's way wider. People don't realize that. It's a big difference between Ironwood and Hurley. Same amount of snow on both streets, and you will think that Hurley is being cleared way better. It's just not true. As far as the comments about the various snow dumps, I think that's a conversation we're having. Thanks for bringing that up. We should be looking at the most efficient way of getting snow. That's all I have to say.
Any other matters?
I just want to thank Bob for having the road scrape yesterday. That was a huge help, I think. And have to live with that rutted freeze mess that's going to happen tonight.
It's hard for our guys because they don't really get to see their families throughout right now.
So express my gratitude to the crew.
I will.
And for Commissioner Timo, we met Commissioner Sim and I met with the Light Task Force, so we're moving along with some revisions and some improvements to the flight element. It's in the works, and we're going to have something for the commission for springtime.
Good deal.
Thank you. Any other matters? Okay, item U, adjournment.
Move to adjourn.
Okay.
Motion by Commissioner Powers, second by Commissioner Green, to adjourn tonight's meeting. And we'll do a discussion of concerns, everybody.